Good morning and welcome to the Courage Coalition. Today's solo cast is going to really address your story and how you show up each day. One of the questions I have for you today is the growth, is the story, is the trajectory, is the beliefs your own, or are they someone else's? The last 2 weeks, we've really talked about beliefs and how they can be someone else's. But I want to take it a step further and ask you, are you so involved in the noise of the world that you're not living your own story? As women, but also as entrepreneurs and business owners, but men too, we get so wrapped up in the right way. What is the right way? What if the right way is your way? What if tapping into what makes you feel balanced and aligned is the right way? To me, and only through successes and I'll call them failures, I don't really like that, but lessons learned, have I understood, or do I even begin to understand the power of what is already inside of us? There's so much out there. Books, podcasts, conferences, coaches, I can go on and on. And although all of them are so powerful, they are absolutely powerful. And I believe just deeply in the power of self growth. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves, am I actually believing in myself? Am I actually asking myself, what is the next step? Or am I consistently signing up, reaching out, reading, whatever it is, what somebody else's way is? Now, I want to put in the caveat here is that we have to open ourselves up to learning from other people because that's how we grow. You can't consistently ask yourself all the questions because you only know what you know. So we've got to reach out, whether that's courses, conferences, coaching. I can go, like you said, everything that reaches outside of our comfort zone is knowledge. But sometimes I feel like we get so wrapped up in the next best thing, the next best someone else's way, the next best someone else's story. So I challenge you to ask yourself, is that what I'm doing? Am I really stopping, pausing, and asking myself, what does the dream look like for me? What is the why for me? And then asking myself, okay, do I have the skills? Do I have the tools? Do I have the resources? Because here's the thing. If you continue to live somebody else's dream, somebody else's way, somebody else's success story, you will continue to get resistance because it's not aligned with who you are. It doesn't create balance with who you are. So there's so much noise out there with regards to niching down and getting specific and finding the perfect avatar and branding and all the things. And although all of those things are extremely important, they can't be your only why, because your why comes down to who you are. So if you're a very clear, specific person, I think all those tools help you significantly. But if every time you go to work on those types of plans and resources and tools, if you feel heavy, if you feel disorganized, if you feel loud and noisy, there's something else there. And so, as I have built the business, as I've built my coaching business, whatever it is, the foundation, one of the things I've had to continually ask myself is, does this feel right to you? Because although I get so much expert knowledge, I seek experts. I consistently am looking for other people to mentor and or coach and or read their books, because I do know that I only know what I know until I know something different. But I have to take that information and ask myself, how does this pertain to your why, your dream? And so, one of the biggest examples I will say is that whole niching thing. That has always been this huge crux for me. It was just resistance. I continually felt resistance around it. And the reason is because in the financial realm or in the bookkeeping realm, they say if you don't address one client, then you will attract no clients because you need to be an expert in that field. And although I believe that to an extent, I don't believe it is the only way. We as humans have strengths and weaknesses. And one of my strengths is multitasking. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's just busy work. You're just being busy." My brain actually struggles with the same thing happening over and over and over again every day. And it's one reason I do change really well because I like new things. I actually crave new challenges, new experiences, new questions. I'm a very curious human. So when I tried to focus on one industry or one niche, it was literally like pulling my teeth. I felt so unaligned, so like I just wanted to burn it all down because it didn't feel good. But what did feel good is like, okay, I like this client. This client feels really good. I feel like this is something I'm, if you're not excited to show up, that you feel good about showing up to work each day. So what does that client look like for you? Why does it fill you up? And what it came back down to is that they were humans living full out. They were humans living in their values. And that felt really good. They weren't stuck in this box of this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it's always going to be. Nope, this is the way I've always done it, so you may not change anything or give me any suggestions. That client feels like I'm pulling my hair out. So what began to evolve was that I have this belief that there are what we call value-based entrepreneurs. They live inside of those core values, those things that fill them up, or at least they're curious about what it is. And that takes a different mindset because maybe they're not just doing one business. They're doing this business and they're doing this side hustle or this nonprofit, or they have a dream of completely turning the business over to management and going and doing X, right? That excites me to no end. To know that I can help them understand their money in a way that where they can live in those core values is so exciting. But yet we go back to that same problem. It wasn't a specific industry. So will it be slower for me? Probably. Is that okay with me? Absolutely 100%. So when I say, are you living someone else's story or yours? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Are you trying to do it the way someone else does it? Or are you doing it in a way that asks the hard questions, that gets very clear and specific on who you serve, and stepping outside of what the noise says is success and building your own success? Because when you begin to build your own success, you begin to live in alignment. And that's when we flow. There's not the resistance and the walls. And so, the second example I will tell you, and maybe a lot of business owners listening to this, or even just humans, is social media. Oh my gosh, how many people hate social media as much as I do? I do, but I'm on it yet 5 days a week. So how do you hate it, Corey? Because it is a tool. It is a free tool to help me in business, to help me in growth. But one of the things that I kept hearing over and over again in the beginning was you have to have a separate page for everything. And that immediately created a stop for me. I was like, absolutely not. I cannot do that. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to freeze in resistance because it did not feel like me. I am a multifaceted person. I'm a multifaceted human, which means I'm a multifaceted business owner, which means I'm a multifaceted nonprofit director, mom, wife, all those things. And I wanted to show up in that truth. I wanted to show up in a way that said, I am not just a firm owner. I am not just a coach. I am not just this. I am all of these things. I want to celebrate humans being all of these things and living in that truth. And so that's what I started doing. Is the followers and all the viral reels happening? Absolutely 100% not. But the people that I am supposed to attract, I attract. That I believe in my core. So ask yourself today, am I living the why that I want to live? Or am I letting the noise direct me? Because if you do it somebody else's way, you will continually ask yourself, why does nothing ever work out for me? Why is it always so hard for me and nobody else? I hope you got one little tidbit of information. If you have any questions, please reach out. Remember to download, share, and review the podcast. And until next time, I'll talk to you again.